I don't know about you guys, but I never stop thinking about hunting season and everything we do in the off season for the hunting season. And, you know, I love the wildlife. I love the indicator species, the rabbits, the turkeys, the pheasant, the grouse. I love all that. I love working on it. We love being outside. But really, if I wasn't hunting this land, I'd probably have a lot smaller piece of property or acreage around this house, and I just enjoy seeing the wildlife. Maybe do a little bit here and there, but we do all this because I want to have a good hunt. And so we love going to clients to help them have a good hunt. It's a really rewarding process and very enjoyable. And so one of the things that we get to every time we go to a client is, you know, are we having hunting plots, holding plots? A holding plot to me is a plot that holds deer until dark. They want to go to, they have enough diversity, and then they go out to a destination after that. A lot of people used to call them destination plots. To me, that's where the deer want to be after dark. I don't want deer going to my plots after dark. I want them hit during daylight. So we try to set ourselves to a different standard where 95% of hunters and landowners out there have destination plots, meaning the deer go there after dark, and that really hurts their property because a lot of times then they're not living on the property during the daylight. Because if they're not coming in until an hour or two after dark or later, they're probably coming from a half mile away, and most people's lands aren't that large. So a true hunting plot is very important and a lot of fun. And I love talking about them, and I love helping apply the strategy that works to our clients when we go out there. So the great time to do that is right now. And there's a few advantages to do it right now, planting, taking care of the field. But I love going out there right now because you can actually match the deer movements that are out there to the hunting plot. And this hunting plot is supposed to be a glimpse into their world. They're moving from point A to point B. And so whether it's pinch points, the backside of a switchgrass field, the backside of a hay field, an overgrown field, set aside, areas in the woods, I love identifying those great locations and then starting them out early. We started one out a month ago. I think we were working on early February, late January. January sometime I mowed that, and then we actually set up mock scrape, trail camera, which we'll talk about, and then stand location. So that's pretty much set to go. We have to plant it, but I think so many people focus on the planting without all the strategy that goes around it of why that's there in the first place. It's not just an opening and you just plant it and you say, well, it's this size. I look at it like that hunting plot has to be anchored by a holding plot. A holding plot is typically several times larger than a hunting plot. For example, some of our recent hunting plots, you'll have the hunting plot and might be a 1/4 acre, 1/8 of an acre, and then the nearby plot is 2.5 acres. It's meant to serve as just a quick glimpse and a pass through of that hunting plot to get to somewhere else. And that's a big difference between that holding plot. I don't want deer to come to that hunting plot. If that's the only game in town, they're going to sit there, eat it till it's gone, and that's a big waste. Or they're going to sit there too long. You can't get in and out of the stand. They're always there. They eat it down. It's not appreciable. So I want them just to be passing from bedding through that hunting plot to get to a big plot. That's the chain you want. So if you have those conditions and you can just get that quick glimpse, huge advantage. Because for one, you can put something in there like clover. Clover can be eaten down to the dirt pretty quick in November. In fact, in the UP of Michigan, where it was pretty cold and we get our first frost around September 1st to mid-September, then I would specifically plant a clover plot where I could walk through it to get to my main hunting plots in November because I could count on the clover being down in the dirt and I wouldn't spook any deer. So I specifically used trail plots in areas where I could walk through because I knew deer wouldn't be there. Completely different when you have a big holding plot in most of the country and then it's flanked by that smaller plot that you can actually hunt. And what happens when those deer are just passing through, in the UP of Michigan, there's no ag crops, there's a lot of competition for food. There weren't a lot of deer, but anything I had, they ate down to the dirt. So hunting plots didn't last. In most areas though, where you have the support of other food, where you have the big food plots, then the deer are just passing through. And so clover lasts because they're not just sitting there till dark eating. They're simply just passing through because they want to get to the higher diversity blends. We have green blends, our fall power greens, we have the brassica, and then we have corn on our really big plots. And so we have all three of those. The deer want to get there because there's something for them to feed on all the way from August sometime till the end of winter, all the way till spring. there's something there. And some of those plots, we even have a corner of clover that we turkey hunt on, or a corner that we hunt on the way to the big plot off to the side. So that small plot, when you have the complement of a big holding plot nearby, allows you to just get that glimpse. Therefore, deer are not there that long. It allows you to get in and out without spooking deer because they're not there that long. They're not already there. They're not waiting till after dark because they just keep feeding. They're moving on to that bigger plot. It helps you get in or out of that plot a lot easier. You can even hunt some of those well-prepared hunting plots. You can even hunt in the morning because they're far enough away from that big plot. The deer going through them in the morning to get back to bedding area. And not all are like that, but a lot are. So it gives you some morning opportunity. They're passing through. You don't spook as many deer. You get just a glimpse of them. They don't pay attention to you because they're feeding on something. And you also have a lot longer lasting forage in that location because, again, they're just passing through. When we look at any stand location, we're adding a mock scrape and a potential camera location. On one of our recent areas we mowed out for a new hunting plot, we added a camera and a scrape immediately, and the results have been outstanding. We had Junior with a half rack going through there. We've had a lot of bucks go through there. We've had does. We had a doe yesterday. I think it was February 26th yesterday. We had a doe just sit there and leaving its preorbital gland scent on that mock scrape. And you look at the scrape, not even know that they're actually using it, but that's what the deer do. So when I can establish this pattern early, and we see that they're already going through in January, February, and they're hitting that mock scrape every time they come through, you have them for fall. And so we can't wait to get that planted. And when we're starting these out, you could be just going in with a chainsaw. One of my first food plots in the UP in Michigan, and it would have been back in '99, I started with a chainsaw and a sled. I had to snowshoe about a half mile out to the area and then cut the entire half acre out, cut the timber up, push it off to the side, and then start the process of when it got warm enough to plant. I think sometimes there's 30 to 40 inches of snow. I had a snowshoe trail going out there. So it was a lot of work, but it was worth it. Now, if you have a heavy equipment coming in, we have another one we're doing that with this year. Jared will come out, doze it, and get it all cleaned up for us. And we're just ribbiting that food plot out. That's a great start. Figuring out what tree we're going to put a stand in. And then also we started the one this year by mowing the backside of a switchgrass field. And that's going to be a really cool just pass-through food plot in between a 1 acre food plot that's about 75 yards away and a 2.5 acre plot with a water hole in between about 300 yards away. So it's really, and then backside is bedding. We've worked on, all these pieces together. So then planting, all this strategy and everything we do and everything we work on to get this started, the planting is last. And if it's an area like a previous food plot, like that monoculture switchgrass, we'll be able to start this in the spring. And because I want that to be a perennial and a clover plot, I want to, in the spring, we have a spring drought attack planting. And that perennial plot, we have a nurse crop of an annual ryegrass that dies out, but it offers a nurse crop property. And it's easy to plant because it's all the same size seed or similar small seed, so it mixes well with the clover. We'll get that established. If we get drought during the summer, it'll at least have a chance of fighting that drought. On most plots, like the other one we're dozing, we'll spray. If we can get it created early, we'll spray, get some buckwheat on it, spray again after the buckwheat, and we'll establish one of our 365 blends that has that clover as a base. And the well-engineered plant it's a different planting. Our Big Boost 365 is different than our Big Boost Brassica. We don't just combine the two. We have to specially engineer that Brassica, the amount of canopy that's there, the amount of bulbs to make sure we can ensure clover the following year. And we do the same with our fall blends, our fall power blends, so that we can actually have a great stand of clover the following year. And we'll plant those in the fall, or the August time. So 2 ways we can plant it, but bottom line, the planting almost comes last. And as Dylan pointed out, when we're talking to clients, we talk about soft mass all the time. Apple trees, crab apple trees, pears, a combination of. awesome to get these on these small hunting plots.
What about oaks? What about chestnuts? Where are we at on those?
Well, I know what you tell clients, right? I think we tell, that's a good question because we get this from clients all the time. I look at hard mass, chestnuts, acorns as they're a complement to good browse in the woods. They're not a good attraction alone. I'd really much rather hunt over, if I had a hunting plot like this, I want apple trees, crab apple trees off to the side. And we actually have one on one of the ones I'm talking about here. And acorns, chestnuts are to me more in the woods, and even chestnut trees. I've seen a great grove. The client had 50, 60 trees down in West Virginia, and all those chestnuts that he grew were gone before the start of bow season. So they were completely gone. Pretty cool food source for a limited amount of time. And that's acorns. If you don't have the brush and browse and briars and woody regen that deer live on all fall and all winter, then the acorns mean nothing. And so, does that kind of answer?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know what you tell. I mean, you tell clients the same thing, but it's kind of.
I usually tell people, if you're gonna do soft mass trees, I want a cluster of them, and I want it all within 30 yards of my stand location, for a bow shot.
Yeah.
And make sure you take care of them.
Yeah, definitely. You're better off planting, and we've seen this time and time again. You know, people plant 30 apple trees and not take care of them, and none live. Where you're better off, you should have planted 5 and caged them and treated them right. And you're better off always planting fewer, taking care of them, and putting that within bow shot. And you can bet I'll clean up that apple tree that's by this one, get some sun to it, and we have 2 actually near that location. But great to add soft mass to these locations to just simply sweeten the pot. So hope you can start that hunting plot this year. Best to start early for a lot of reasons. We just enjoy getting the trail camera photos right now, and I hope you do too, and I hope you can get your hunting plot started a lot sooner than later. Everyone, thanks for watching to the end of the video. I really want you to check out whitetailhabitatsolutions.com, Pure Wildlife Blends. There's so much we have to offer you. You know, if you never buy anything from us or hire us to come to your land, that's okay. We're still going to be putting out all this free content to try to help you out. I want to put a smile on your face. I want you to have a great hunt. But from our food plot seed blends, to books, to web classes, to hiring us, we have lots of stuff to offer on whitetailhabitatsolutions.com and Pure Wildlife Blends. Make sure you check it out. The links are in the description.